What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Girl Who Talks Sports, the podcast where we talk sports and other girly things. I am Sam Cardona. Guys, thank you so much for listening today. This is the Super Bowl episode of The Girl Who Talks Sports and the last episode for a little bit of time. I'm going to be taking a little sabbatical. Football season's over. And things are just gonna try and take a break for a little while. So, but Super Bowl happened, which is very, very exciting. We will talk about that today. But of course, before we get into all that, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, which I think I want to make like more video content if I'm not putting out like podcast episodes. Which could be fun for like over the summer and the off-season content, so on and so forth. So make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel at The Girl Who Talks Sports. Subscribe on all podcasting platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, anywhere that you can get your podcast from. Please make sure to subscribe and leave a review. And don't forget to follow me on social media. TGWTS Podcast on Twitter and The Girl Who Talks Sports on Instagram and TikTok. I will continue to be active on my social media, because I'm a millennial. I'm addicted to social media, so I'm gonna still be on there, even if I'm not producing content. So make sure to follow me on there. And of course, guys, don't forget to check out Team Clicks. That's TEAMCLIX. They are sunglasses to rep your favorite sports team with interchangeable arms. On my glasses right now, I have the Bills on one side and the New York Giants on the other side. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. If you guys didn't know, I do a Giants show, which I've done, I was doing before I got my new job, and then I stopped doing it because I couldn't with the time. Anyway, Big Blue Avenue will be putting out some off-season Giants stuff, so make sure to check us out at Big Blue Ave on Twitter, Instagram, and also Review and Preview. We are on Facebook Live and YouTube and all that good stuff, so make sure to subscribe on there. Oh, our YouTube channel, Big Blue Avenue YouTube channel. Make sure to check that out. All right, I'm gonna stop plugging, but make sure to check out Team Clicks, the sunglasses. And use code TGWTS at checkout. Okay, friends. It's been a crazy few days. Today is Tuesday, the 15th. If you guys celebrated Valentine's Day yesterday, happy Valentine's Day. As you can see, if you're watching right now, you can see I have my Joe Burrow sweatshirt on. I was rooting for the Bengals, and if you don't follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you did not see. So I didn't put out like a pre-Super Bowl episode, but I did post a bunch of stuff on social media that was like my predictions and what I thought was going to be important to the game, and so on and so forth. My prediction for this game was 24-21 Bengals. Close to the score. The final score was 23-20 in the Rams' favor. But I was pretty convinced that the Bengals were going to win this game. And let me just say, overall, my Super Bowl experience this year was delightful. I think that this was one of the better Super Bowls that we've had in recent years. Last year, i.e. Buccaneers 31, Chiefs 9, Patriots, Rams 13-3. The Philly Patriots one was not bad. Philly special, Nick Foles, that whole storyline was pretty good. But in recent years, the game itself really wasn't fantastic. And I gotta say, Joe Burrow and Matt Stafford made this game interesting. They kept it back and forth. They kept it close. I don't think anyone was a touchdown up at any point in time, or maybe the Bengals were towards the end. But never like a 2-possession game or anything like that. A lot of times it was a 3-point game. Really great. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I was rooting for the Bengals. However, I am so thrilled for Matt Stafford. I think he 100% deserved to have a ring. he spent, 12 years in Detroit, nothing to show for it really, which is kind of sad because as we can see, he is a Super Bowl winning quarterback with the correct team. So, and the correct coaching as well. So Matt Stafford, I am thrilled. I'm thrilled for you. Did I want Joe Burrow to win? Absolutely. But it's Joe Burrow's second year in the league. Second year! First of all, let's just break down Joe Burrow's accomplishments. Joe Burrow was drafted in 2020 to start in the 2020 season. The first season he played for the Bengals, week 10, goes down, tears his ACL. The Bengals win 4 games in the 2020 season, and it just seems like, okay, like, Joe Burrow is great, but the Bengals continue to not be great. 2021 season, they have added Jamar Chase. They did not work on their offensive line, which I will speak my piece about in a second. The fact that the Bengals have come to, the Bengals being in the Super Bowl just 2 years after they have drafted Joe Burrow, who has come off of an injury that included surgery, to come back and have a Super Bowl season, to make it through, to beat the Titans, to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs. It is the most impressive thing, if you really think about it. It's so impressive. And I'm like, really genuinely, like, good for Joe Burrow. This is not the last time that we're seeing him in the playoffs, possibly in the Super Bowl. I'm super stoked for these upcoming years because it's going to be Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow battling it out in the AFC every year. And I am so freaking pumped. It's going to be so good. So, just want to throw that out there, that Joe Burrow basically turned this franchise around. Zach Taylor 100% deserved to win Coach of the Year over Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel did a great job. Don't get me wrong. Mike Vrabel did a fantastic job. I think Zach Taylor is part of the reason why the Bengals are where they're at with Joe Burrow. So anyway, that's just what I'm thinking. That's how I'm feeling. But close game, 23-20, Rams over Bengals. Now, to talk about the NFL honors really quick, since I just brought it up, Cooper Kupp, obviously, a big part of this game. Although the Bengals defense really did a great job holding it down over Cooper Kupp. I feel like he could have ran all over them even more, making it one of those Super Bowls that are like, oh my God, like they're 2 touchdowns up. Like, this isn't very exciting. They really held Cooper Kupp. However, Cooper Kupp won Offensive Player of the Year, which was great. And if I'm being frank, and I've been talking about Cooper Kupp in the MVP race for quite some time now, for quite a few months, and I did tweet out Cooper Kupp should be our MVP, and I still 100% believe that. Did Aaron Rodgers do great, and did Aaron Rodgers win MVP? Yes. Like, if you're going to give it to somebody and you're giving it to Aaron Rodgers, I get it. It worked. I think Cooper Kupp is part of the reason why Matt Stafford, if not one of the entire reasons why Matt Stafford is a Super Bowl champion. But Cooper Kupp won Super Bowl MVP, which, one MVP under your belt. That's really, really great. And the kid is just so humble. I mean, you saw him receiving the trophy. He felt like he didn't deserve it. He felt like it should have gone to other people. Maybe Aaron Donald should have been in the mix for that because he basically ended the game with that sack, and it was, Aaron Donald, they doubled him up the whole game too, and if they didn't do that, he would have ran all over. Joe Burrow would have been in the ground for real. But I get why Cooper Kupp ended up getting the Super Bowl MVP to begin with. All right. Let's see here. Injuries. Let's talk about some of the injuries in the Super Bowl. Two notable ones. And to go with the first one is Odell Beckham Jr. Odell, first of all, has been on a journey. As a Giants fan, I know that. I've had my feelings about Odell Beckham Jr. I'm sure Cleveland Browns fans have had feelings about Odell Beckham Jr. Ended up going to the Rams and is now Super Bowl champion. Odell Beckham Jr., the first half of the game, was looking really, really good. Really good. He was the first touchdown of the Super Bowl, and he's the one that started it all off. When Odell got hurt, and it was a non-contact injury, it looks like he landed wrong on his knee, and the fear is that he has torn his ACL again. It's the same ACL that he tore in Cleveland, and got surgery on. And I've never torn my ACL before, but I could imagine it is very difficult to come back from an ACL re-tear, a second surgery. It's not great. And you even saw, I feel like Odell also had that same thought in mind. I mean, he got his ring. He was very emotional. He was crying. I get it. I don't have the full stats in front of me, but I do know that Matt Stafford was performing better when Odell was in the game. And I will make the argument that Odell was a huge playmaker for the Rams, not only in the Super Bowl, but throughout this season. He's a talented player. No matter what drama has gone on with the Giants or the Browns or what have you, whatever he said, whatever his dad said, it's a whole thing. But he's a talented player, and he helped the Rams get to the Super Bowl, and he helped the Rams win the Super Bowl. So shout out Odell. I mean, genuinely, I'm glad that you got your ring. Shout out to your partner who will be having a baby soon. It was the fact that the Rams were like in full blown just chaos, because they not only were winning the Super Bowl, Odell was thinking that maybe he wouldn't be able to play because he thought his partner was going to go into labor and give birth to their child. And then it turned out that Van Jefferson's wife did go into labor in the middle of the game and was like, if any of you tell him that I am in labor right now while the Super Bowl is going on, like, I'm going to kill you. So she went to the hospital. They won the Super Bowl. They tell Van Jefferson that she's there. He quickly grabs all of his stuff and heads out to the hospital. And they had a healthy baby girl, I believe. So just insane, really. Van Jefferson is the main character of the LA Rams right now. But going back to Odell just really quick. Again, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but Odell made the Rams better. He did. And I thought that putting Odell on the roster, losing Robert Woods to was it ACL tear, I believe. I was skeptical. I was skeptical this whole year about the Rams. People were saying, yeah, Rams to Super Bowl, Rams Super Bowl favorites, everything. And I was like, I want to see the Rams do it in order to believe it. I just didn't want to put all of my eggs in the basket of the Rams and just say like, yeah, no, they're winning the Super Bowl. I was skeptical, and I think that was fair. I think that they had over the course of the season, they acquired Odell, they acquired Von Miller, they were acquiring all of these stars, and I was nervous that the Rams were kind of overly staffed with stars. Like, they just really, it was going to be too much, there was going to be too many personalities, and it just wasn't going to work. But Sean McVay made it work. They won't be drafting for the next 100 years, but they won a Super Bowl, and they have a Super Bowl team. And that's, I will swallow my pride and say, yes, I said that I need to see the Rams. I need to see the Rams do it in order for me to believe it. And they did it. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Von Miller, that defense was impeccable. And Joe Burrow actually tied Roger Staubach with being one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. And I don't think any of those quarterbacks have won. So 7 times, Joe Burrow was sacked. 7 times, and one of those times was, as we're talking about injuries, leading into the next one, here's my transition. One of those times, we see Joe Burrow just completely, the agonizing pain on his face was concerning. But I just got an update about it. Joe Burrow will not need knee surgery. Initial tests show that the Bengals QB can rehab from Super Bowl injury on his own, which is really great news. But I don't know if people agree with this, don't agree with this, what have you, but I believe if Joe Burrow does not get hurt, if Joe Burrow doesn't suffer a knee injury where he kind of just rubs it out on the sidelines like, all right, I'm good, and he goes back in the game, where he's handing it off to Joe Mixon, and it's, kind of back and forth, and he's not playing the best. Joe Burrow, completely healthy, no knee injury, back in the Super Bowl, has a wide open Ja'Marr Chase down the field on that final drive that Aaron Donald sacks him. The Bengals win the Super Bowl if Joe Burrow does not get hurt. And that's I feel like it's not even an opinion. I feel like that is a fact. If you see the still of the layout of Aaron Donald sacking Joe Burrow, and you pan out, you could see Ja'Marr Chase has beaten out Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey is midway falling onto the floor. Ja'Marr Chase is wide open with nothing in front of him but the end zone. And that's what they wanted. If they got down the field and they didn't score, kicked a field goal, now we're going into Super Bowl overtime. That's not what the Bengals wanted. They wanted to get down the field and score. Joe Burrow has the ability to drop back, land on his feet, do what he needs to do, be quicker. With this offensive line and an injured Joe Burrow, that just doesn't win the Super Bowl, which we saw, which is why the Rams won. But I think that I will die on the hill that the Bengals would have won the Super Bowl if Joe Burrow never got hurt. So, great news, though, that he doesn't need to get surgery, because I believe it was the other knee that he tore his ACL on last year. So you really did not want to have surgery on two different knees. That really would have sucked really bad. So Joey B also tweeted out, he was like, sorry we couldn't get it done. It's like so sad, because I feel like I don't want him to think like, oh my God, this is it. It's over. It's finished. Like, no, sir. You are in your second year in the league. You are 25 years old. You have a lot. You have a lot in front of you. You have so much in front of you, and I cannot wait to see the Bengals and Joe Burrow continue on their journey. Since we're talking about Joe Burrow getting hurt, since we're talking about the line in front of Joe Burrow, let me just talk about the Bengals offensive line for just 1 second. Joe Burrow's offensive line. I was the person, and I've talked about this many times now, and I've, again, one of those things, swallowed my pride. I was upset that Ja'Marr Chase was drafted and not Penei Sewell, and that the Bengals weren't working on their offensive line in the first round of the draft. I have since said Ja'Marr Chase was the pick of the draft for the Cincinnati Bengals. Having Burrow, having Chase obviously worked. They made it to the Super Bowl, and they would have won the Super Bowl again if Joe Burrow didn't get hurt. But the reason Joe Burrow got hurt is because his offensive line is the weakest part of this team. Now, I swear to God, if the Bengals do not focus on their offensive line in some way, shape, or form, first round of the draft, free agency, anything, I will scream. Because now, like we're saying, how impressive it is that Joe Burrow's only in his second year and getting to the Super Bowl. Can you imagine the things Joe Burrow can do if he doesn't have two knee injuries? Just imagine it. Let's just picture it for a second. Could you imagine? This kid would be freaking unstoppable. Unstoppable. The Bengals fix their offensive line, like I was saying before, contenders. Every year, the way the Chiefs are, the way the Bills are. I can see them, just all three of those teams just hashing it out every single year. So if they don't do that, because I mean, there's again, I've been seeing just screenshots, stills on Twitter, Instagram of the Bengals offensive line just being so bad at their job. And I will say, I think they, for the most part, did a fairly good job with what they needed to do. Fairly okay job. They did an okay job because Joe Burrow is as good as he is. But the fact that in the wild card round of the playoffs, 9 times the kid was on the floor and they beat the Titans, and they did that because the Titans were not playing well, because they did bad. The Titans did not win. The Titans just lost. They lost that game. It was just not good. Against the Chiefs, let me look up how many times Joe Burrow was sacked. Joe Burrow sacked AFC Championship game, because I'm interested to see, because that was a very, very close game. Of course, it doesn't just give me what I need. To Pro Football Reference we go. But so let's just say the wild card round, we saw Joe Burrow get sacked 9 times. The Super Bowl, we see him sacked 7 times, tied for number 1 of the most in Super Bowl history. All right, let's see. Let's just see 2021. Oh, they don't give the full. 2021. He was sacked 51 times this year. That should just be very telling in and of itself. Playoffs. Why is this being so annoying? He was sacked 19 times in this playoffs. So he wasn't sacked at all during the Chiefs game, right? Because 9 plus 7 is, or maybe he was sacked once. 9 plus 7 is 18. So 19. I'm sitting here doing math in my head. He was sacked at least 1 time in the Chiefs game, which is significantly better. And we were like, wow, look at this offensive line against this Chiefs team. Again, I won't ramble too much longer on all this, but they need to work on their offensive line. And I stick by that from last year. And again, Ja'Marr Chase, great pick for them. And at this point, I am supportive of Ja'Marr Chase being on their team. But they need an offensive line. Again, think of how powerful Joey B will be with a decent offensive line. And just shout out to the Bengals defense. Really held their own. Like I was saying before, Cooper Kupp could have ran all over them. Odell Beckham could have ran all over them in the first half. It was just, they did a great job holding it down and keeping the Rams to only 23 points. So really, really good there. Now let's just talk about, before we get into the halftime show and some of the ads that I thought were really cool during the Super Bowl, the missed penalty call. The one. Like, there was first of all, in that last drive of the game, when the Rams are making their way down the field, and the Bengals defense, left, right, and center, penalty after penalty after penalty. If they didn't have those penalties, I think they stick it. The Rams don't score. Cooper Kupp doesn't have a touchdown. And the Bengals, again, win the Super Bowl. But it was like, 3-4 penalties, I think, at the end of that last drive that the Rams did. In and of itself, just atrocious. But the penalty that I'm talking about is the face mask penalty. T. Higgins v. Jalen Ramsey. So I believe it was one of the first touchdowns of the game. Higgins is running down the field, Jalen Ramsey obviously keeping up with him, and when you watch the replay over, Higgins very obviously has a face mask where he pulls, and Jalen Ramsey's face just goes this way. It was very obvious. However, then it causes Jalen Ramsey to fall. Higgins gets way in front. Burrow gets the ball to him. He gets down the field. He scores. And then just watching it over and over again, like, it's a blatant face mask penalty that 100% should have been called, but it wasn't. And would that have changed the course of the game? Absolutely. It would have 100% changed the course of the game. But here we are, and the Rams still won. But Jalen Ramsey, I also just got to shout him out, because while he is, has a little bit of an ego, runs around saying he's the best cornerback in the world, which he's up there. He's definitely up there. Had a phenomenal game. Really, really phenomenal game. But yeah, so I just want to say, again, rooting for the Bengals was 100% a face mask. That should have been called. Okay, so I think that kind of covers most of this game. I just wanted to hit a lot of the main parts here. Let's get into the halftime show. The halftime show was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. I really did. Do I think it was the best halftime show of all time? No, I don't. I was one of those people that said, "Oh, is that 50 Cent? Oh my God, it is 50 Cent." Bottles in the club, like I was in it. Like I felt it was awesome, and everybody was just head bobbing the whole time. I was one of those people. I was working during the Super Bowl, so I'm typing on my computer, doing my thing, popping along. Loved Eminem growing up, so that was really, really, really good, really awesome. I knew not a lot more Mary J. Blige songs than I thought I did. I think I just didn't realize that they were Mary J. Blige songs. The fact that 50 Cent was waiting for his cue, hanging upside down, very impressive, sir. Very impressive, sir. Because he definitely, 50 Cent age he is much, yeah, he's 46. 46 years old. He's 46, Snoop Dogg's 50, Eminem is 49. This was a much older group and definitely tailored towards the, late 20s, 30-year-old millennials that grew up listening to this music. And again, did I think it was a great show? Yeah, I did. I enjoyed listening to it. I do think, I don't know if this is people are gonna get mad or whatever, but Kendrick Lamar kind of brought the vibe down a little bit. His actual performance was fine. I don't know. I just feel like it was a little bit out of place, just a smidgen. Everybody was just if you didn't want Kendrick, if Kendrick kind of didn't fit the vibe, you should have just put 50 Cent in it and not done Kendrick Lamar or what have you. But that was just, again, my opinion. The halftime show, like I said, was good. I think that there were several halftime shows that were a lot more impressive. Beyonce, Bruno Mars, Coldplay, or was it Red Hot Chili Peppers? Anyway, that one, really great. Beyonce in and of itself, bringing out Destiny's Child in and of itself, really great. People, a lot of people argue that the Prince halftime show where he performed Purple Rain, literally in the rain, one of the best. And I think that's what makes a great performance. The fact that, I didn't grow up listening to Prince, but if you watch that performance, you're like, this is a great performance. If you don't know the person, you don't know the song, and you're sitting there, don't get me wrong, I know who Prince is and I know Purple Rain, but a good performance is watching it and not even really knowing who the people are, or knowing the songs and still enjoying the performance in and of itself. I think that's what qualifies as a good performance. I think that a lot of people loved this halftime show, which again, I thought was great and fun and I enjoyed it. But, so many people didn't because, they're older and they're like, we don't get this and this and that. Putting on a performance that everyone enjoys is not the easiest thing to do. But I do think that it's that's what makes it, quote unquote, the best Super Bowl halftime show of all time. I'm sure people have many, many different opinions, and I totally get it. But again, I loved it. I did. I thought that it was fun, and I loved listening to the music and all that stuff. I loved, I saw that behind the scenes video of Snoop smoking weed before he hops up on the stage, it's fun. But in my opinion, it was not the best of all time. But I do love Eminem. Always have. Always will. And then the other thing with the halftime show was Evan McPherson. Bengals kicker Evan McPherson was not in the locker room and decided to stay out on the sidelines and watch the halftime show while the Super Bowl was going on. Now, I put up a poll on my Twitter where I said thoughts on Evan McPherson being out watching the halftime show during the game. And I offered two different options, which one was it's fine and the other said not okay. Everybody voted it's fine. And I also, I feel like, yeah, especially if he asked permission and was like, I'm going to go watch the show, what have you, blah, blah, blah. But could you imagine if the Bengals Super Bowl came down to Evan McPherson kicking a field goal and winning the Super Bowl for them, and they miss it? Like, let's just say that in this scenario, like, let's make it more realistic. They get down to the end there. Again, Joe Burrow limping around the field, whatever, gets into field goal range, and Evan McPherson has to kick the field goal to go into overtime. Could you imagine if he missed that field goal? People in Cincinnati and all around who were rooting for the Bengals would have rioted. Would have been like, well, if he wasn't not in, if he was staying in the game and staying in his head and not in the halftime show performance, maybe we would have won the Super Bowl. Maybe we would have went into overtime, blah, 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 blah. But because that wasn't the case, because Evan McPherson didn't have a role in the end of this game, I think a lot of people will say it's fine. And again, if Zach Taylor was like, yeah, man, like, you're good, we're good, go ahead and watch it. It's, it's not my team. But personally, if that were me and that was if I was a coach, I'd be like, dude, I get it, but also, like, we're playing the freaking Super Bowl. We got to stay in the mix. You got to stay in your head. I know you're the kicker. I know that you might not even have to do anything, but let's stay in the mix here. That's just my opinion. Again, because he didn't really have to do anything, it's fine because he didn't have to do anything and he enjoyed the halftime show and he did his thing. But it's like, I don't know, what if Joe Burrow sat out there? And they're losing too. They were losing at halftime. I don't know. Maybe, am I wrong? Am I wrong here? I feel like it's like could go either way, but if you guys have opinions, let me know. Yeah. So again, overall, halftime show, great. Really great, but not the best. Not my favorite. What else? Ads. Super Bowl ads. Let's get into the my favorite commercials from Super Bowl. All right, so this will be the last thing, or one of the last things that we just talk about. I'm going to give my top 3 favorite ads from Super Bowl weekend. I don't know if I wasn't really paying attention. I feel like there were a lot of good ones, but there also were like some weird ones. I'm going to put the one with the QR code that jumped around the screen all the way at the bottom. All the way at the bottom. That was terrible. Absolutely trash. One, because I tried to scan the QR code and it didn't work. I don't know why. It didn't work. But I get it. You were done with that nostalgic factor with when you were watching on your DVD player or something and it was jumping around and it would hit the corner and it would be like super satisfying. I think it was dumb. I think it was really stupid and a lot of people were like, what the heck is this? And it was stupid. Anyway, so that one's all the way at the bottom. But here are my top 3. I'll put number 3 will be the goats, the Disney Plus goats, because it was cute. It was really cute. Awkwafina, shout out Awkwafina. She went to the same college as me. She was really great, and all the goats dressed up as like Marvel characters and like all that stuff is really, really cute. And I've been seeing so many ads now of all these different goats dressed up as things. I mean, how could you not love a goat? Goats are great. So I'm gonna put that one at number 3. Number 2 is the Lay's commercial, with Seth Rogen and Paul Rudd, which I just watched right before I started recording this because I had to show my mom because my mom loves Paul Rudd and I thought that it was really funny. Just the fact it was very simple, just the two of them laughing, hanging out, and just they're two very, very funny men, two very, very just fantastic human beings, and just the fact that they were like, oh, like, remember when we like kind of had our first heart to heart and Paul Rudd's like, I've never seen any of your movies, and Seth Rogen's like, not even the ones we were in together, and it's just they're so funny, and at the end it's like he's getting married to the demon that was in the house that he bought the first time. Fantastic. Lays, you did a fantastic job and you casted it correctly. It was great. It was really great. Number 1, I'm biased, but I audibly gasped and my head perked up and I pointed at the screen the second I heard the music. It was the Chevrolet Sopranos theme song ad. Because first of all, I hear the bass, and I've seen The Sopranos now. I've watched the show fully through twice and have watched episodes just stand still alone many, many, many times. The first time I watched it, I was in college. And then my boyfriend and I watched it about like last year or the year before together, fully through again. And my parents used to watch it when it was on TV, on HBO, when I was a child, and definitely should not have been walking by the screen, but I, of course, did. Love The Sopranos. I think it is one of the greatest shows of all time. Fantastic. I hear the bass, I hear whatever, I look up, and just, on a personal note, I drive up and down the New Jersey Turnpike almost every single day. That drive safely sign, I drive past that every day. There's an exit sign that says Elizabeth, Staten Island. That's my exit. Like, I feel very spiritually connected to that. Plus, I love the show. And they're doing the bass. They're playing the song, woke up this morning, got yourself a gun. And then I'm looking and, they're showing just like the eyes of the person driving. And I'm like, holy crap, that's Meadow Soprano. Like, that is Meadow Soprano. And I'm pointing and I'm saying things. Nobody else in the room watched The Sopranos, so they had no idea what I was talking about. I was like, oh my God, that's Meadow. That's Meadow. Oh my God. And, they're doing the whole intro over again. They basically recreated the whole thing. It ended up being, like an ad for Chevy, and she gets out of the Chevy. And then she's running up to this guy, and it ends up being AJ, who is so grown up now. And they just, like, it was a genuine hug. Like, you could tell just the actors were just like, they hadn't seen each other in so long. They did the whole show together when they were kids and grew up and all this stuff. And they hug. And then they're standing in front of the car. I was like, excellent work. Excellent work, Chevy. Do I want to buy a Chevrolet? 110%. Okay, guys. Now, I'm going to start wrapping this up. I'm looking at my camera. It is about to die. And I can't wait any longer. So, guys, that was my very, quick, fast synopsis of everything that went down in Super Bowl 56. Congratulations to the LA Rams for getting themselves a ring. Sean McVay, Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Odell Beckham Jr., Aaron Donald, please don't retire. I'd love to see more of you in the years. Sean McVay, don't retire either. You're too young. You're only 36. Anyways, so, guys, once again, this will be the last episode for a little bit of time. I'm going to be taking my break. But again, continue to follow me on social media, TGWTS Podcast on Twitter, The Girl Who Talks Sports on Instagram and TikTok to keep up with me there. Keep an eye out for off-season content from me and Big Blue Avenue as well. Might also start a little project that has nothing to do with sports, but that's a little bit in the mix. But yeah, so don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, again, keeping up with me there, and on all podcasting platforms. Oh my God. I hope you all have a fun, fantastic, sports-filled day, and I will see you guys when I see you.